Asia has been the home of some of the world's oldest civilization, and many important discoveries in science and technology started here. Countries like China, India, and Japan gave us inventions that changed how people live. In ancient China, science and technology were connected to farming, medicine, astronomy, and even government. The Chinese created the four great inventions, which are the paper, printing, the compass, and the gunpowder, which transforms not just their own society but also the whole world.
It started from Shang Dynasty. The detailed records of astronomical observations began during the Warring States period and flourished from the Han period onward. So nagsimula ang Chinese astronomy noong Shang Dynasty. Then, nagsimula silang gumawa ng mga detailed records tungkol sa mga stars noong Warring States period. Tapos, mas nag-improve ito noong Han Dynasty. Sinusubukan din nilang i-predict ang mga eclipse. Then, kapag mali ang prediction nila, pwede silang ipapatay. The Chinese astronomers believed that celestial phenomena were linked to earthly events, especially the fate of the emperor and the state. So naniniwala ang mga Chinese astronomers na ang mga pangyayari sa langit, meron din siyang connection sa mga posibleng mangyari sa lupa, especially sa kapalaran ng kanilang emperor at ng bansa. Dahil dito, nag-focus sila sa pagbabantay ng kalangitan tulad ng mga comet, eclipse, supernova, at movements ng mga planeta. Then nalalaman nila ito dahil sa iba't ibang instruments to measure time and celestial angles. Naka-imbento si Zhang Heng ng seismograph. Isa siyang instrument na nakaka-detect ng lindol at kung saan ito nagmula o saan ang fault nito. Tumulong din siya sa paggawa ng celestial globe o model ng langit. Pag-usapan naman natin yung mga ginamit na instrument to measure time and celestial angles. Armillary sphere. It is a traditional Chinese astronomical instrument used to observe celestial bodies in an equatorial coordinate system. Ang armillary sphere, isa siyang instrument na ginagamit sa pag-observe ng mga stars, planeta at araw. Ginagamit ito para ipakita kung paano gumagalaw ang araw, buwan, mga stars sa langit. At ang mga galaw nito ay nire-represent ng mga metal rings, which is the imaginary lines like equator, meridian, ecliptic, and horizon. Astronomers use it para malaman ang right ascension at declination ng stars and planets. Para siyang longitude and latitude sa sky. Nakatulong to sa kanila to map and track kung saan eksaktong makikita ang mga celestial objects. The armillary sphere helped improve the accuracy of the Chinese calendar and solar terms, which were vital for agriculture and ritual. Here's the position of the sun and determine time and seasons. It is a vertical stick or pillar that casts a shadow on a flat surface. So dito, nalalaman mo kung anong oras na, depende sa position ng araw, na pwede mo makita sa pamamagitan ng anino. So, ibig sabihin, kapag summer solstice, ito ang pinakamahabang araw ng taon. Ibig sabihin, maiksi ang gabi. Kapag naman, winter solstice, ito naman yung pinakamaikling araw ng taon. Ibig sabihin, pinakamahaba ang gabi. Kaya pwedeng malaman ang mga solstice at iba pang Chinese 24 solar terms sa pamamagitan ng haba ng nagbabago-bagong shadow ng biyaw. Water clock. China developed highly advanced water clocks as early as the Han Dynasty. Water clocks are ancient tools used to measure time gamit ang tubig. So yung tubig, dahan-dahan siyang tumutulo or umaagos sa isang container papunta sa isang container. At doon, nalalaman nila kung gaano nakatagal lumilipas ang oras.
Good day everyone! Today I'll be talking about the Chinese calendar, isa sa mga pinakamatandang calendar system sa mundo. Ang Chinese calendar ay naimbento ni Emperor Wangdi noong 2637 BCE. Katulad ng ginagamit natin ngayon na Gregorian calendar, pero ang difference, ginagamit pa rin ito ng mga Chinese sa traditional celebrations tulad ng Chinese New Year. May mga key features ito katulad ng lunar months. Ang Chinese calendar ay lunar-based, ibig sabihin naka-base sa moon cycles. So bawat buwan ay nagsisimula sa new moon at tumatagal ng 29 to 30 days. So, next is solar year adjustment. Dahil mas maikli ang lunar year, nagdadagdag sila ng leap month every 2 to 3 years para tumagma sa seasons, lalo na sa farming. So, next yung 24 solar terms. Hati ito sa 24 solar terms base sa posisyon ng araw sa langit, tulad ng spring begins at autumn equinox. Ginagamit ito ng mga magsasaka noon para malaman kung kailan tamang magtanim at mag-anim. Next is the Chinese zodiac cycle. Bawat taon ay may katumbas na isa sa 12 animals, which is the rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, dog, at pig. Ang cycle na ito ay umuulit every 12 years. Bawat animal ay may meaning. Katulad ng rat, nagsisimbolize ng talino, horse ay energy at lakas. Mayroon din silang heavenly stems at earthly branches na pinagsama para makaubuo ng 60-year cycle na tinatawag na sexagenary cycle. So, ang zodiac ay ginagamit sa horoscope, matchmaking, at festivals. So, halimbawa, sinabing maswerte ang Year of the Dragon habang ang Year of the Tiger ay pwedeng maging challenging para sa iba. So, ang Chinese calendar ay kombinasyon ng astronomy, astrology, at cultures. Hindi lang ito para na pagbilang ng taon, kundi simbolo ng tradition at pagkakakilanlan ng mga Chinese. So, ang next naman is ang Chinese number system. Isa ito sa pinakaunang paraan ng pagbibilang. Ginamit ito ng mga sinaunang Chinese libo-libong taon na ang nakalipas at naging basehan ng modern tools tulad ng abacus. Ang Chinese number system ay decimal base. Ibig sabihin, naka-base ito sa number 10, katulad ng gamit natin ngayon. Pero ang kakaiba sa kanila ay kung paano nila nire-represent ang numbers. So, una sa rod numerals. Noon, gumagamit sila ng counting board na parang checkerboard. Nilalagay nila doon ang mga maliliit na rods na gawa sa bamboo o ivory para mag-represent ng numbers. Ang ones ay nasa kanan, tens nasa kaliwa, hundreds nasa susunod pa. So, walang zero. Kaya kapag walang laman sa column, iniiwan lang nilang blank. Ang red roads ay para sa mga positive at black roads para sa negative. Ina-alternate din nila ang orientation. Halimbawa, vertical tapos horizontal naman para madaling makita natin yung mga place value. So, pagdating naman ng 4th century, na-invento ang abacus o swan pan. Dito, beads on wires na ang gamit. May upper part na tinatawag na heaven at lower part na earth. Bawat wire may 7 beads, 2 sa heaven at 5 sa earth. Ang bawat wire ay kumakatawan sa powers of 10. Ones, tens, hundreds, and so on. So, paano gamitin? Para sa 1, isang bead pataas. Para sa 5, isang upper bead pababa. So, para sa 12, isang bead sa tens at 2 beads sa ones. So, ganun lang siya kadali at mabilis siya gamitin. So, ang Chinese number system ay logical at practical. So, mula sa Rhodes hanggang Abacus, pinapakita nito kung gaano ka-advance ang math ng sinaunang Chinese. So, kaya hanggang ngayon, ginagamit pa rin ang Abacus bilang tool sa pag-aaral ng math.
So the ancient Chinese medicine, also known as traditional Chinese medicine called TCM, is a holistic medical system developed over 1,000 of years, rooted in philosophy of balance, harmony, and not a natural world. It emphasizes treating the whole person, not just the symptoms of disease, and it aims to maintain or restore health by achieving balance between the body and the body of its environment. Here are the key principles. First one is the yin and yang. Balance of opposite forces like coolness, warmth, rest, and activity. Next one is the qi, the vital energy. It flows through meridians, and their types are yuan qi, zong qi, and wei qi. Next one is the 5 elements, and those are wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. And they are linked to organs and emotions. And lastly is the Zhang Fu theory. Organs have both physical and emotional roles. Here are the TCM treatments. First one is the herbal medicine. It uses roots, leaves, seeds, and other minerals. Next one is acupuncture. Needles at acupoints to unblock qi, relieves pain, stress, and insomnia. Third one is cupping therapy. Sanctions draws out toxins and improves blood circulations. Next one is tuina massage. Rheumatic hand techniques for muscles, joints, and internal disorders. And lastly is Qigong and Tai Chi. Slow movements, breathing, meditations for balance and vitality. Here are the key beliefs of TCM. If the Qi is blocked or imbalance, illness will occur. As for the treatment, it restores harmony of the body, mind, emotions, and environment. And it focuses on long-term health and root cause, not just the symptoms of disease.
One of the most important areas of progress in ancient China was agriculture. Farming was the foundation of their society because it provided food, supported their rulers, and strengthened their economy. Farmers in the north planted millets, wheat, and barley, which are crops that can grow in cooler and drier land. While in the south, where the land was warm and wet, they grew rice, which became China's main food. They also cultivated soybeans, tea, cotton, and hemp, which were useful for food, clothing, and even trades. To make farming easier and more productive, they invented many tools. As early as the 4th century, they used the iron plow, which was stronger than wooden plows and helped till the soil more easily. They also used animal-drawn plows, seed drills to plant seeds in rows, sickles for harvesting, and wheelbarrows to carry heavy loads. Another clever invention was the chain pump, a device that lifted water from rivers to higher fields so plants could be watered even in dry seasons. The Chinese were also experts in irrigation and water management. They built canals, dikes, levees, reservoir, and paddy fields to control water, prevent floods, and ensure reliable harvest. A famous example is the Zhujiangyan irrigation system, built around 256 BCE, which is still in use today and shows how advanced their engineering was. Another major project was the Zhenghua Canal, which helped irrigate large farming areas during the Qin dynasty. They even practiced crop rotation and left some fields to rest to keep the soil fertile. They raised animals like pigs and chickens alongside crops to improve their land. These smart farming methods made ancient China one of the most productive farming societies in the world. By combining technology, engineering, and nature, they built a strong food system that supported their civilization for thousands of years and laid the foundation for China's long history of cultural, land, and economic growth.
Chinese architecture is a rich tradition emphasizing harmony with nature and symmetry and hierarchy in its designs. So they uses wood as the primary material. Traditional buildings were primarily made of timber, which was readily available and suited for the region's seismic activity. Wooden beams and columns were fitted using advanced joinery and not nails. As for symmetry and axial layout, it has north and south orientation and perfect balance. It has a hierarchy in design, which are the yellow roofs for the royalty and simpler homes for the commoners. And lastly, it is built for protection, privacy, status, and spirituality. So here are the important structures. First one is the palaces. Like the Forbidden City in Beijing, it symbolizes imperial power. Next one is the temples and pagodas, like the Shaolin Temple and the Pagodas Forest. And next one is the residential compound. It is for the courtyard houses for the extended families. And lastly is the tombs and mausoleums, like the mausoleum of the Persian emperor with his terracotta army. As for the cultural legacy of ancient architecture, it shows artistic, spiritual, and practical traditions. It uses natural materials and emphasis on balance. It still influences modern Chinese cities. And lastly, architecture reflects cultural identity, imperial power, and philosophy.
Next is technology, which is the four greatest inventions of ancient China. These inventions greatly improved people's lives and had a lasting impact on science, culture, and technology all over the world. First is paper making. It was invented by Cailun during the Han Dynasty around 105 CE. Paper was made from mulberry bark, hemp, old fishing nets, and rugs. The process involved soaking, boiling, pounding into pulp, and drying the sheets in the sun. These produced light, flexible, and durable paper used for writing, painting, and record keeping. Paper spread through Asia and the West, improving education, communication, and government. Second is printing technology. China pioneered two types of printing. Woodblock printing, developed during the Tang Dynasty, where text and images were carved into wooden blocks, inked, and pressed onto paper or cloth. This allowed mass production of books and marked a revolution in literacy and knowledge sharing. Second is movable type printing, invented by Bi Sheng during the Song Dynasty around 1040 CE. Instead of carving an entire page, he created individual clay characters that could be rearranged to form different pages. This idea influenced Gutenberg's metal printing press in Europe centuries later. Both types of printing made books cheaper and helped spread education and culture worldwide. Third is the compass. The earliest compass appeared during the Warring States period and was first used for geomancy and feng shui. Made from lodestone, it aligned north-south naturally. By the Song Dynasty, it was used for marine navigation, helping Chinese sailors travel accurately even without the stars. The compass spread to Islamic and European civilization, becoming vital during the Age of Exploration. Lastly is the gunpowder, invented during the Tang Dynasty by Taoist alchemists. Gunpowder was made from charcoal, sulfur, and saltpeter. At first, was used for fireworks and rituals, but later used for military weapons like fire arrows, cannons, and early guns. It spread through the Silk Road, changing warfare, chemistry, and global exploration forever.